Our friend Tom Appel knows more about stuff than we do, and one of the things he's really good at is cars and vroom and vroom. And he's got some interesting EV news, and we can talk about the UAW strike and stuff. We like Tom a lot, and we think you should follow Tom. Not physically. And what are you, a stalker?
Follow him in your car.
Follow him online, you crazy nuts, on social media and stuff. Where do they do that?
Car Guy Tom, car_guy_Tom on Twitter is a good place. So that's where I post everything I do.
All right. Jane.
You just tweeted out 6 minutes ago that you'd be on the Cochran Show. I saw it.
He's smart. He's psychic.
Well, I think the first thing that we need to talk about that's very, very, very important is that your comments about what Bears team would we replace in Chicago if we got rid of the Bears. And you said, hey, send him to Canada.
Put him in a CFL. Yeah. And you know why? And this is another thing. I didn't think about this, Tom. Maybe this is where you were going. There's already a lot of Bears in Canada. Maybe they'd be among their own there.
I did not think of that, but great point.
Yeah, that's the kind of logic I'm bringing.
Yeah.
Somebody jumped on me. He goes, oh, yeah, Mr. Bandwagon, get off the... No, you can't get on a bandwagon with two wheels. I want the Bears to win. It's great for Chicago if the Bears win. It's great fun if the Bears win. But you have to be professional enough to show up to work and do your job, and this team's not doing it. They're not like Tom Appel. If I need car information, Tom shows up. He does the work. Yeah. All right, what's up with this EV situation?
Well, the EV situation is interesting because I don't think anyone can read it. The weirdest thing that's going on right now is that Tesla, which was really the pioneering company, the proof of concept company for electric vehicles, very reluctant to give up market share, but the rest of the market is growing. There's lots and lots of EVs to choose from now. So Tesla is crazy reducing prices, making their vehicles more affordable. They are clinging on to market share, but it's making it look like no one can sell EVs because everyone else is having a hard time. We should find out soon what this whole weird price reduction thing is going to do to Tesla revenue and to Tesla profits, and it's got to have an impact. The money's got to come from someplace. But for now, if you're looking for a Tesla Model Y or a Tesla Model 3, that's the small sedan or small crossover, they're a heck of a deal right now.
So talk about some of the closed plants here in the Midwest. Do they need funding to become these new EV car manufacturers locally?
If you're talking about a plant that has been closed down, not producing anything, the odds of it being reopened just to build electric vehicles fairly slim. Capacity is there's still capacity at the existing plants or the plants that manufacturers are building specifically for EV manufacturing, including battery plants, which are a very different thing. So I don't know that we're going to see idled plants open.
So will we see a bigger boom then in the existing plants for this EV manufacturing to keep up with the demand?
Yeah, one of the big plants, like Spring Hill, Tennessee, was a big General Motors plant that was built back for Saturn back in the 90s. And that plant is full-on building EVs now, or will be very soon. And what's going on is that around it, we're seeing the infrastructure for building EVs. So battery plants are going in around there and things like that. So it's either some of the really big plants or new construction that we're going to see the EVs being built at.
So you mentioned great deals now. How great are those deals?
With the federal tax rebate, you can now do a Tesla in the very low 30s.
Wow.
Which it's a crazy good deal. They were so expensive a year, 2 years ago. And it's changing a lot of people's minds. And Tesla is clinging to market share at the expense of profit and revenue, or profit.
So is this a good time to flip a car? I'll give you a perfect example. A guy I know asking for a friend drives a Chevy Blazer every day, and he loves his Chevy Blazer. It's a 2020 Chevy Blazer. But he drives a long way because he lives in a double wide in East St. Louis. And he's got 70,000 miles on the car. Now, when I was you might remember, I'm old enough, Tom, to remember a decade called the 80s and the 90s. Or if you had 70,000 miles on a car, you're going, oh, this is not worth a whole lot of money every additional mile I drive it. Now we're talking about 200,000-mile cars. We're talking about great trade-in values on cars with a big mileage number. You get into 70-plus number. Should you be flipping a car even with high interest rates, or is it not that easy to answer?
There was a time, and as you noted, you and I both remember it, when a car got close to 100,000 miles, you got rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah, because 100,000 was a line in the sand, and getting close to it was a big issue, and that hurt your resale value. Now, not so much. That's not the important line in the sand anymore. 6 digits, not a big deal. And used car prices have declined somewhat this year, but they're very steady. So if you're still thinking about getting rid of your car, your used car, it still has a lot of value. In fact, it's very hard to find a 1, 2, or 3-year-old used car still.
So there really isn't a magic number anymore to flip out of a car, then, mileage-wise, I guess, huh?
I don't think we know what it is anymore because things have been so weird. But no, 100,000 isn't the scary line in the sand it used to be.
All right. Biden's going to march with the UAW strikers. Matter or not matter?
I don't know if that matters a whole lot. It's interesting that the UAW isn't as pro-Biden as other unions. I think they voted 40% for Trump the last election. So obviously he needs to court. He needs to court that group, and he's still like the union guy. But I don't think it matters as much as people think it matters. Democrats
used to have a lock on the unions. I don't know that they do anymore.
No, they really don't, especially not the UAW, which is interesting. But I don't know why liberal politics became inaccessible to the UAW, but that's the way things roll.
So as you go forward in this week of car news, what are you keeping your eyes on most?
I'm really interested to see what happens next with the strike. We're waiting on the strike, and the UAW and Sean Fenn, the UAW president, decided to shut down not more frontline automotive manufacturing plants, but distribution centers. So the impact on the public may be more immediate because it's going to be hard to get parts for your car if you bring it in for service.
So if the distribution centers shut down, it's not going to matter because you won't be able to get service on your car. So that is a real pain point.
It is, yeah, and it's more immediate too. Like the car supply, there's 60 days, 7 days supply of cars in the pipeline. It's going to take a while for that to matter, and then it's just the ones that are being affected by the strike. So it could take a while, but a distribution center, we might start feeling that in the next week.
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes is right. Are we seeing anything close to this strike getting to be an end? The UAW strike?
There's negotiations going on, but what's happening too is I don't think that either side wants to look as if they've made a big concession. So I think right now we're just inching along with like little things. The big deal, obviously, always is wages, and I think they're not as far apart of that as they could be. The bigger deal is the two-tier employment plan where some employees make less than others. That's what the UAW really wants to dissolve. They really want the lower tiers to be making as much as the higher tiers, and that seems to be a sticking point.
Yeah, I think where the unions run into a problem where sometimes that emphasis has to go away. You can have a union that's merit-based. The Screen Actors Guild is merit-based. You can either sell a movie or you can't sell a movie. George Clooney makes more than I made to be the weatherman in Grumpy Old Men because that's
He's
the
George
way
Clooney.
It should be. Yeah.
I'm just looking for an end of the strike. I'm looking for the end of all strikes.
Oh, really? All of them?
Yes.
All right.
So I don't want this to be going on in January.
Phil LeBeau from CNBC, who I'm sure you know, Tom, said he's concerned about us still talking about this in December.
It does seem to be crawling along. It's interesting, though, that the strike has not been affecting Ford as much, and so the UAW perceives
that makes Nick happy.
Yeah. Ford seems to be somehow talking the right language and making the right moves. So, at any rate, we get the sense that someone is doing something right, and if Ford comes to a deal first, this will all close down pretty quickly because usually whenever there is a contract, the others are patterned off the first one, and things seem to fall in line pretty quickly.
Tom. Appel, Tom Appel, Consumer Guide Automotive. Get it? Follow him. Know your stuff. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Tom.
Oh, thanks, guys.
See ya. We like him.